Greetings from here in Brazil to the people there at Tuscarora. A while ago we were asked to make a video about our ministry here. So what we're going to do today is we're going to take you through a day in the life of a missionary. Now today is not an ordinary day, but then again we're kind of hard-pressed to find a day that would actually be what would be considered an ordinary day, because this kind of doesn't exist for us. But what we're going to do today, we're going to start out taking Mikey to school. Nathaniel has the day off today. And then you're going to go with us out to where the camp property is. We're going to do some work there. And then we're going to meet some of the people at our preaching point way out in the brush. And we're going to show you some interesting things along the way. Hope to kind of give you an idea of what's going on here. So, follow us. Front of the military academy. Pull right up over there.
This is Colégio Militar.
Right up here. All right. Have a good day, bud.
Bye.
And here we go. Now, if you look over to our left, over that way, you see a neighborhood that's called Sacavém. And Sacavém is not too far from where we spent the first year of our ministry. And it's also the neighborhood where my friend Pastor Francisco lived, and where he was out in front of his house working on his car the day he was shot. And a guy robbed a used parts store just right down this road that we're going to cross right now, and ran up into the neighborhood where the pastor lived. And the pastor was there. Our son Nathaniel was there as well. And when they heard the shots, everybody ran into the house, and the pastor was the last one to go in, and he never made it in. He was shot and died right there on his doorstep. Where we're going now, we're going to the camp in Morros. And this camp was a vision that Pastor Francisco and I had together. We saw the need for a camp, and it was actually Pastor Francisco that came to us and said, listen, there's a piece of property for sale, we should go look at it. And we went and looked at it, and we're very excited about the possibilities. And so Tuscarora and I invested personally in it, and then churches and individuals in the United States also invested for us to be able to buy the rest of the property. And you're going to see that. So one of the things I really enjoy about the camp ministry is the fact that we're kind of continuing the legacy of Pastor Francisco, who had ministered here for, what was it, hon? Over close to 30 years, right? That he had in ministry here in San Luis, and this camp is kind of the continuation of his ministry. So that makes it special to us. And we're a little stop along the way to fill up the tire of the car. This Fiat here. The nickname is Donkey Slayer. Because some may remember from prayer letters a few months back, coming home from a meeting with the deacons, I hit a donkey, and by the grace of God, the car survived. However, the donkey did not. Some of you may remember a couple days ago, if you were watching Facebook, I put a series of posts up about something that was going on right then, a riot that was taking place in the local prison. It was a pretty intense affair with a lot of 9 prisoners dying, and it had repercussions throughout the whole city. And the building we're going by right now is that prison. All right, we're in the city of Rosario. Rosario is about 45 minutes to where the camp property is. In front of Semi is the energy company, and this is where we have to come to request to get energy hooked up at the camp. So that's what I'm here to do right now. We just got here, and they have a system where you take a number, and they're on number 7 right now, and my number is, let me see, 22. So we're going to be here for a while. Okay, I'm here. We're on this next leg of the trip. This is the last stretch of road before we get to the camp. It's one of the more beautiful sections of road here in our part of the state of Maranhão. On either side, you'll see it's lined with palm trees. The state of Maranhão, one of its nicknames is that Terra das Palmeiras, or the land of the palm trees, and you can see why as we're going through here. I want to take this advantage, take advantage of this long stretch of road, and kind of talk about our ministry here. As a missionary here, I have two main goals that Tuscarora and I have kind of looked at and said, this is what we want to accomplish in our time here in Maranhão. First of all, we want to plant good, solid, grounded churches. And our second goal is to strengthen and unify the regular Baptist movement here in the state of Maranhão. Now those two goals are kind of interrelated, because by planting churches, we're automatically going to be strengthening the movement. And as we strengthen the movement, it'll become easier and easier to plant more churches, because we believe that it's churches that plant churches. Right now we're on church number 1. The camp property that we're going to fits into both of these goals, because it's outside of the city of São Luís. It's off the island, and it's in the interior of the state, which is an area that our churches have never reached before. But since we purchased the property, God has opened up this area. And one of the things you're going to be seeing today is a little village where God opened the door for us in a spectacular way. What we desperately need is someone to take this on as a full-time ministry. Someone to come out here in this rural area and say, you know what, this is our ministry. And I got to tell you, the door's wide open. If we had someone here, they could have a ministry not just in this little community we're going to, but anywhere they wanted to have a ministry, they could have one. They could, there's all different types of communities just like this one, that where churches could be started, and someone could be kind of like an itinerant missionary or a preacher here. So that's one of our big prayer requests. We'd appreciate it if you'd make it a prayer request too. God, send us somebody that will take this area on as a project. I foresee that if we had someone, within 10 years, a whole association of churches could sprout up in this area. That's how fertile this ground is, spiritually speaking. So we arrived here at the camp already, and traffic was good, so it didn't take us that long. But you're seeing here, this is the wall that we just built. The camp property extends from this post here all the way down that way, 40 meters. So when we're walking through here, we've got to have our proper tools. And this is called a foice. It's kind of like a sickle or a scythe, and we use it to hack down some of the bigger. This will even cut down small trees if you use it right. And then of course we have your daily average machete. Very handy tool. We're going to be going up there and cutting our way through some of the brush, and these things work beautifully. Up this ridge that's all part of the camp property, and if you look down that way, you can see the wall we just built, the extension of the wall. That's 40 meters from that post over to the end of the wall. We left two openings, one on this end and one down there for gates. We made the gates wide enough so that buses could get in and out if they needed to. We're going to actually be putting the gate doors on. That's one of our next projects coming up. It's going to cost me about between $1,000 and $2,000 to do that. All this cleared out area that you can see here is part of our property. And then if you want to look over here, all of this high brush area that you can see, all these palm trees and everything, that's in the area that they want to sell us and that we would very much like to buy. And so you can be praying with us that God will send those funds in. We're at this point, at the time of this recording, we're about $1,500 short of being able to make that purchase. And everything you see, even behind me, all the way down to those two big palm trees, that all belongs to us. So just a little beyond those palm trees is where the neighbor's property begins. And then if you look that way, we own, let me see, we own 20 meters, so far we own 20 meters that way. Once we purchase this property, it'll be 30 meters that way. And we're gonna cut through some of this brush now, and try to give you a decent idea of how big this camp property actually is. And after a lot of hacking through the underbrush, we're finally down here at the stream. This is part of the stream that goes behind the camp. This is a section that little by little we're beginning to widen out. We're making it wider and deeper. So that eventually this will be the main swimming hole of the camp. Getting ready to enjoy some of the typical cuisine of the state of Maranhão. What we have before us is shrimp. And this shrimp, if you want to pan the camera over to that, okay, that's where it comes from. We're right next to the ocean, and so actually inlet of the ocean. And this is the village of Icatu. It's a little fishing village. And I got to tell you, if you like shrimp, you got to come here to Maranhão. If you like shrimp and you come here, you'll think you've died and gone to heaven, because we get all kinds of shrimp all the time. It's really, really good. And of course, here in Brazil, everything's eaten with rice. And we have the little vinaigrette dish made of vegetables and so on. Most dishes come with a little side dish of spaghetti. This is farinha. It's a flour-like substance made out of mandioc root, and it's really good. It's pure fiber. And of course, the beans, which go with your rice. And then right here is what my wife ordered, which is a kind of fish. Hon, what kind of fish is this? You know what? It's some kind of fish, and apparently it's real good. So we're gonna eat now, and try not to get too hungry as you look at this stuff. Oh, I forgot one thing.
Jesus.
This is the soft drink that's made here in Maranhão. It's only made, the only place in the world they make this is here in Maranhão. And if you look at the name, it's in Portuguese it's Jesus or Jesus. And in our family we affectionately refer to this as Jesus juice. Alright, we had a little rest this afternoon, got a little lunch. Now we're going to the community of Bom Gosto. And as you can see, we're turning onto a dirt road. It's interesting. People here in Brazil, when I tell them that I'm originally from New York, of course their minds go directly to Manhattan and Long Island and Statue of Liberty and Empire State Building and all this kind of stuff. And so then I start telling them about Thompson Road and the Tuscarora Swamp. Alright, so this will probably be, if not the last, the second to the last section of our filming for the day. Here we are in the community of Bom Gosto, and you can look around, you can see these houses. This is basically the center of the little community. At the moment, the only church that is here in this community is that little Catholic chapel that's over there, and that's only used every once in a while on holy holidays. So there's a lot of work to be done. We've been going around visiting some of the new believers and giving some counseling, giving some encouragement to some of them and some of the lifestyle choices they're having to make. And I want to introduce you to my friend Abreu. Abreu is the deacon of our congregation. He's been with us since the very beginning, and it's been a privilege to work with him over the past year and a couple months. I kid him, I say he's the best deacon in our church. He's also the only deacon in our church. So the person I wanted to introduce you to, this is Ivo. Ivo has been filming most of the things I've been showing you today. He came along for the ride, came along to help us at the camp, and we've been showing him some of the things that have been going on here. Ivo is a member of our mother church, which is the Boas Novas Church, or the Good News Baptist Church. And he just recently expressed his desire to go to the seminary to study to be a pastor. And the church is raising support and looking for support to do that. So we appreciate your prayers that God will be providing the funds to be able to send Ivo to seminary, because I think I mentioned a couple times what we really need here in the state of Maranhão is workers. So here's a young man. He's interested in working, and we're interested in seeing him do an outstanding young guy, and it's been a pleasure to travel with him today. Okay? Did you want to say something?